Hey guys, it's Peyton, and today I'm going to be talking about everything that we know about Haymitch Abernathy's Hunger Games. We do know he is from the 50th Hunger Games, which is the second Quarter Quell. If you somehow missed the news, we just a week ago got announced that we are not only getting a new Hunger Games book, but we're also getting a new Hunger Games movie, which kind of feels like deja vu from 2020. But who would have thought? 5 years ago, I thought this was dead. It was gone. We are never getting anything ever again. Suzanne Collins was no more. She had gotten her bag and left, gotten her cabin in the woods, and lived a joyous life the way Katniss and Peeta do. I was ready to worship these books till the end of time, be happy, and, never see her again. I want to see her again. I would kill for a signed book from this lady. It will never happen, but I can't explain what I would do to meet this lady and get her to sign my book. But she is so cool and mysterious that that's just never gonna happen. I remember Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes came out and she did like a reading of the first chapter. Insane. I hadn't seen that lady in it felt like decades. I'm only 23. So now that we've had a week to sit on this news, and I did a whole video of my initial reaction that morning that it was released, we hadn't even known that the movie was coming until a couple hours later. So it's the pure 9 in the morning, 8 in the morning initial reaction of me. And I don't know if you know, I'm a huge Hunger Games fan. I've made like 20 plus videos on the Hunger Games over the past 10 years that I've been on YouTube, and I could do more. I'm here to do more. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm absolutely obsessed. I don't remember even how many times I've read these books, and I have now reread the part in Catching Fire that is Haymitch's Games, and I have done a full deep dive on what exactly happened. We only have 9 pages of work that explain what is going on here. All we know about this book is it is set during the time period of the 50th Hunger Games. We don't have anything confirmed of who is the protagonist, who we are following. For all we know, we're following President Snow again, which is a choice. It is a choice that could happen. I feel like everyone has ran with the fact that it's going to be Haymitch's perspective, because at the end of the day, all we have truly is Katniss's perspective watching his tape. We still don't even have Haymitch's perspective from this book. I can't cancel anybody out. Are we gonna get Maysilee Donner's perspective? Who even knows? I do know when the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes came out, it did not announce who the book was following till a little bit later. So I'm assuming we're going to get hit with news one day and it's going to let us know specifically who this book follows, if it follows several people. All we can do is speculate at this point and talk about what we do know about this time period of the Hunger Games. This was not a plotline that was included in the Catching Fire movie. It was never addressed, and it was one of those things that I always itched for it to be a part of the movies, but I understand why it couldn't be. I think Catching Fire is the perfect adaptation, but dang, would that have been interesting? Because the casual moviegoers that never read the books, they just don't know this interesting detail about Haymitch's character. Who we see in the books makes a lot of sense knowing what he went through. I will go through the basics. We know it is the second Quarter Quell, which marks the 50th Hunger Games. Every 25 years, they have a special version of the Hunger Games. Katniss's, the 75th, and Catching Fire was also a Quarter Quell. It was the third one. I honestly do not remember what the 25th one was. They kind of mentioned it in Catching Fire, how they didn't have that tape to watch because that person is long dead. We don't have them anymore. So they didn't really need to look at their technique and see what was going on, because in Catching Fire, the third Quarter Quell had to do with a twist, making all the past victors be the tributes. Haymitch's Quarter Quell is that double the amount of people were reaped. So each district gives up 4 children. So Haymitch was obviously one of the 4 children, and he was reaped last. Before him, we saw that Maysilee Donner was reaped as one of the girl tributes. Who is Maysilee Donner? You might have seen her name floating around on the internet recently. She is honestly a badass bitch. I want more from her. If the book was following her perspective, I would eat that up, I would love to know more about her, because seriously, we got 9 pages. It's such a small segment of what these people's story was. Maysilee Donner is the twin sister of what's that bitch ass face's name? What is her name? I'm so sorry. Does she have a name? She doesn't. Okay. Mayor Undersea's wife. If you really remember the Hunger Games, there is a mayor in District 12, and Katniss is friends with his daughter, Madge. His wife is the twin sister of Maysilee Donner, who was the tribute that Haymitch was fighting for his life with. And what was interesting is that Katniss and Peeta, while they're watching the tape, they notice that Maysilee Donner, the sister, which is Madge's mother, and Katniss's mother are all hugging. Clearly they're all friends, and Katniss never realized that actually Madge, who gave her the Mockingjay pin in the original books, if you know. Madge is the one that gave her the Mockingjay pin in the first book. She is the reason she had the Mockingjay with her. Madge got that pin from her aunt, Maysilee Donner. She was the original owner of the Mockingjay pin. I hope this is making sense for you guys. I know I'm going all over the place. Honestly, reread the books and it will make more sense. But I think we're all probably going to reread the books before this happens, but I'm trying to do a little bit of a summary so we can kind of spark our theories as we learn more and more information about everything. And honestly, for a games that had 48 people, it seems like it was fairly short. A lot of people died very quickly, and it's because that freaking arena was also a stupid ass place. It was stupidly beautiful, a golden cornucopia. Everything was so stunning that when the tributes first arose and were in there, they were distracted by the pure beauty of it all. Not Haymitch though, he was on his move. I mean, beautiful sights, beautiful creatures just flying everywhere, and even it smelled good. But here's the catch about this arena, is almost everything in there is poisonous. Even the smell of the flowers is poisonous. Honestly, I can't imagine like how complicated that was to learn and like start to trust anything, like to eat. How do you do anything? There's golden carnivorous squirrels that eat people alive. One of the final tributes, like in the final 5, got eaten alive by a freaking pack of squirrels. That would kill me. Squirrels are one of my favorite animals. I would be embarrassed, but that's what happened to that guy. I sticky noted a bunch of parts of this book for us to discuss. It's the most breathtaking place imaginable. The golden cornucopia sits in the middle of a green meadow with patches of gorgeous flowers. The sky is azure blue with puffy white clouds. Bright songbirds flutter overhead. By the way, some of the tributes are sniffing. It must smell fantastic. An aerial shot shows that the meadow stretches for miles. Far in the distance, in one direction, there seems to be woods. In the other, a snow-capped mountain. We find out later this mountain is a volcano, and it burns like half of the freaking arena. So the only part that's safe for the tributes to be in is the woods. So it puts them closer and closer to each other, you know, to kill each other. 18 tributes are killed the first day, like it's a bloodbath. Haymitch is able to grab a weapon and a backpack from the cornucopia, and we find out Maysilee Donner, all she got was a tiny little bag, and she got 24 darts, a bowl, dried beef, and a blowgun for the darts. And she was incredibly smart because she used the darts and the poisonous realm that they're in. She took some of the poison and laced it on the pointy part of the dart. So she was shooting people with them and killed them. And that's how she came across Haymitch once more. So what's interesting is while Katniss and Peeta are watching Haymitch's games, before we get in there, they note how Caesar Flickerman obviously interviews all of the tributes. He interviewed Haymitch, and that entire recording was included because he was the winner. And Caesar says, "So Haymitch, what do you think of the games having 100% more competitors than usual?" And Haymitch says, "I don't see that it makes much difference. They're still 100% as stupid as usual, so I figure my odds will be roughly the same." That sounds exactly what Haymitch would say. And Haymitch is described as young, strong, and as Katniss says, hard to admit, but he was something of a looker. Which, we love some Woody Harrelson in this house, unless he's weird, I don't know. But I love him, specifically for this. So the two are fighting for their lives, Haymitch and Maysilee. They're not with each other for quite some time. Haymitch is on a path to get to the freaking end of this arena. He is just walking. He is walking, not really much of a reason other than he says, it has to end somewhere, right? The arena can't go on forever. So he's just walking. Maysilee eventually is following him. This is the path of how he wins. I'm so sorry. This is such a mess. I'm literally like red because I'm so excited about this. Like I can't. Like just even rereading this part in the book to prepare this video. And I also rewatched the fan film made by some fans, obviously. I'll link it down below if you haven't seen it already. Honestly, it's kind of a Hunger Games classic. I consider it a part of the movie. And it's great. It's literally word for word from what we see in this tape. But while Haymitch is walking and walking and walking, he gets caught by 3 career tributes and they're trying to kill him. He kills 2 of them real quick and easy, but then the 3rd one disarms him and tries to slit his throat. Before that can happen, Maysilee Donner with her darted that man. Darted him, he's dead. Haymitch and her, allies now. They came from the same district. There's still a couple more tributes left, but they decide to be allies the way Katniss and Peeta did to stay alive longer. So as Haymitch continues his walk, Maysilee follows him. They work together. They find ways to survive that help. Who knows if they would have made it through if they did not join forces? I don't know. Eventually, they reach the edge of the arena. It is a cliff. And Maysilee's like, dude, we found it. There's nothing here. Let's turn around. And Haymitch was like, no, I'm staying here. I worked hard to get over here. So he stays there and they break paths. They do not want to be allies anymore. There's 5 people left. They say they don't want to be the last 2 standing. Like, that's awkward. No one wants to do that. Kind of friends, and then they have to kill each other. No. So Haymitch is chilling by his cliff and a pebble falls, whacks what he thinks would be the edge of the arena and just fall. But no, the pebble comes back. It is a force field, as we see in Catching Fire. Miss Ma'am Katniss Everdeen sees the force field. You know, Peeta literally got flung by a force field and his heart stopped and Finnegan kissed him alive. We know about the force fields. It was prepared for us by Haymitch Abernathy that these force fields be doing these things. He decides to throw a rock and test it out. It flings right back into his hand. So he's figured out something that the Capitol did not intentionally lay their plans for him to know. So he pockets this in the back of his head. He's sitting there. Here's a scream. Can't be good. Maysilee just left him. A freaking pink-beaked, weird, long-beaked bird stabs her. I would be so pissed as well if that's how I died. I made it this far. There's literally 48 tributes. And you're telling me a pink-beaked bird just stabbed me and I bleed out. So he makes the choice to come and run after her and he lays with her while she dies. And it's a kindness that Katniss attributes to being similar to what she did with Rue, just being there for her while she dies, and it's really sad. Clearly they were friends and they cared about each other, and I don't know, anyone that has a human heart would feel something, unless you're a career. So that guy gets eaten by squirrels, as I mentioned earlier, and then someone else dies. It is only District 1 girl and Haymitch left. Honestly, this one has stayed with me for years. Like, I always remember this image of Haymitch Abernathy holding his intestines into his body as he's running away from this crazy ass girl with an axe. You know, she's from District 1, so she's kind of brainwashed and like she's ruthless, ready to kill. It doesn't mean anything to her. He's running away towards the cliff that he knows has the force field. He's disarmed. He has no weapon to his name at this point. She has no eyeball. Her eyeball is gone. He gouged that shit out. She's over here looking a lot better than him. You know, she's missing an eyeball. She'll probably survive. He's over here flinging, flying, like twitching because his intestines are falling out of his body. Like, it's really not good. But he takes her to the edge of the cliff. She throws the axe. It misses him because he's fallen to the ground, twitching, dying. But what she doesn't know is that he knows about that force field and he intentionally placed her in front of it. The cannon goes off and that axe hits her in the face. It comes back to her. As Peeta says, Haymitch found a way to turn it into a weapon. And then I tabbed this part. I think it's very important from what Katniss says after assessing this whole thing. She says about how he turned it into a weapon, not just against the other tributes, but the Capitol too. You know they didn't expect that to happen. It wasn't meant to be a part of the arena. They never planned on anyone using it as a weapon. It made them look stupid that he figured it out. I bet they had a good time trying to spin that one. Bet that's why I don't remember seeing it on television. It's almost as bad as Us and the Berries. And then Haymitch happened to be in the room at the time, did not let them know that he just randomly showed up, and he says, almost, but not quite. I do not agree that it's almost as bad as the Berries, because literally, like, it's insane. They ended up killing Haymitch's whole family and his girlfriend because of what he figured out, and he used the arena to his advantage in a way that they never expected or wanted. This whole ordeal led Katniss to feel comforted by the fact that Haymitch is a bad bitch. He also did something against the Capitol. It says, "And surely 2 people who have caused the Capitol so much trouble can think of a way to get Peeta home alive." Well, Haymitch kind of betrayed her with that. But let's not talk about that one. So that's what we know about the 50th Hunger Games, the second Quarter Quell. 2 really strong characters within just 9 pages. Obviously, we know Haymitch, how he is now, how he literally sleeps with a knife. He's an alcoholic. He has nightmares to this day. Like, it really bothers him. I don't know why it wouldn't. I mean, for 24 years, we know that he was just watching every single tribute he came across die. And that's why he was so jaded when he met Katniss and Peeta. Like, he didn't think anybody would probably win. He was an outlier. It was him and one other old lady victor that we know about. And Lucy Gray, from what we know, was lost to the test of time. So she's not counted, from my understanding, as one of the victors. He is really the only victor in this town for so long, and it's just up to him to be the mentor and just watch all of these kids die. Like, it's every year a traumatic thing for him, and it's always bringing up the bad memories of what happened to him. Like, I cannot imagine how painful that was, and I'm just really happy that in some way he was able to get his happy ending. It really is a brutal thing that happened to him. It's a terrible life, and he deserves whatever peace one could get after this happening to them. So it leads me really to just question, could this be like the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, where we have the games and then we see the aftermath? I question it a lot. Like, would we have anything in the future? I really don't think Miss Suzanne will ever touch Katniss and Peeta again. I think they are gone to us. Like, this is what we have. We will never get more. I wonder if we'll have from his perspective where he ended up, because truly, I want to know. You know, did he ever get with Effie? Like, I don't know. I highly doubt she shows us much of the future, but I do question if we see after the 50th Hunger Games, at least by a year, or just his time being a mentor. And I also saw a really interesting theory about maybe Tigress is his stylist, and we see her further progression of hatred for Snow, because we see where she is in Mockingjay. You know, she's not a stylist anymore for the Hunger Games things. She is telling Katniss to go kill him. It's very, very stark difference from where she was in the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, where, I mean, that's her cousin. She loved him. I still can't believe that we ever got this new information. Like, it's thrilling. It's amazing. I'm obsessed. Could we see the in-between, where she is on her journey of true hatred for him? We see her at the end of this one where she's like, "You're turning into your father. Like, this is not good." Like, she clearly is noticing something's really not right with him anymore. But could we see that progression throughout all of the books that we're getting? I guess we'll just have to wait to see and learn more. That's all we got today. It's a lot. I know this was kind of disjointed, but it's a discussion from a fan to a fan. I'm sure you probably, if you're watching this, already know a lot about it. You just might need a refresher because it's been a while. And I enjoy doing this with you. You know, go watch my Hunger Games playlist if you want more material. And I have other videos talking about other books that I like, because I like a lot of books. I have lots of books. A lot to them. I'll see you later. Bye.